And we're rolling. We are back after this Christmas holiday.
Sorry for the dead silence. You caught me by surprise.
So how was your Christmas?
It was fun. We went back home, which is, it's different now because we lost a lot of family members over the last couple of years. And
right.
Holidays definitely changed, but it's all the young ones now taking care of everything, so it was good. It's always fun taking Lucy on the road. She still gets car sick, so. Yeah, but it was all a good time.
We were at our family, and we have a family over in the Fort Bend County area, and so for them, that's the family that runs the that Christmas the
hayride,
the hayride thing through Pecan Grove. Yeah, Hooks hayride. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was finally glad to see another season come to an end. So
I'm sure.
So he'll figure out, probably sometime around summertime of 2020, whether he wants to do that again or not. But
right.
Anyway, so the Christmas out of the way. We had a lot of fun. Had a lot of food.
Oh, I know. I feel miserable.
Actually, this year wasn't as bad for me. Only just either we just didn't have a whole lot of guilty food to eat,
right? Or
I just didn't feel like indulging or overindulging in things. So, had the normal fare, pecan pie, pumpkin pie or whatever, and all the one thing I did have that my aunt made, which I haven't had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
She made chicken and dumplings. Oh my God!
Well, no, that's my area of expertise.
And it was, she does everything scratch. So the dumplings are all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the dumplings are all scratch. All that. Mm-hmm. And it was by far my best meal of Christmas Day. She had also made what she has this baked potato soup that she makes,
right?
And or stuffed baked potato soup or something along those lines, which is really good too. But the chicken and dumplings for me is reminds me a lot of my grandmother, because it's like it's the one memorable meal that I know that was like her thing.
Right.
So anyway, but so Christmas was fun, and it's all behind us now, and now we've got the New Year's Eve approaching. Today is the New Year's Eve. So
we're gonna take it easy this year. We're not doing anything fancy. We usually go to a party every year, but we're not even gonna do that this year. We're just gonna stay at home.
I stay home with the dogs, because the dogs do not. I mean, particularly with where I'm at. The fireworks just get crazy.
Right.
So, but that's the day that I also, because of it, what I've learned is I queue up YouTube and I put on my music playlist, and I have the music playing in the house, so it's loud enough to drown out the.
Oh, that works. That's a good tip.
And it calms the dogs down.
Right.
So so I can kind of do some things while music's playing in the house, and with all the wood that I have in the house, as far as has nice acoustic effects.
Right.
So,
well, we were just going to talk about it. There was a guy that decided to start shooting in a church up in White Settlement.
So he went to church, but not to worship.
Not to worship, yeah. And the video's everywhere. We're not going to mention that jackwagon's name at all, but he decided to go in there for whatever reason, which is not known yet. Walked in and decided to start shooting, and he got killed really quick. It's kind of interesting because now that all the news is coming out in the aftermath of the story, this guy was wearing a fake beard and a fake wig and a toboggan and a big coat. Kind of drew the attention of everybody in the security team, at least on the church, and it just happened that quick. He just got up, took 2 shots, and then was killed.
Yeah, I had read that.
And it's amazing how fast these things go. Anyway, 2 people that were key parts of the security team in the church were killed, which is sad. Our condolences to all of them. Then the lead security guy actually had a headshot and took it and did a good job of
what's his name? Wilson?
Jack Wilson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's he's running for local office, which this probably is going to help. But I like how he's handling it. He's basically like, look, I'm not a hero. I stopped evil from happening. Mm-hmm. And what makes it really significant is what we're seeing going on in Virginia and other states where you have these elitist socialist politicians that are trying to tell the citizens of this country what they can and can't do to protect themselves. You even had a presidential candidate, two of them actually roll up into town and criticize Texas on their what they perceive as loose gun laws.
Yeah, it's I won't even go so far as to say whatever labels there are, but the thing is it's a person who believes that they have influence telling the population what they should be doing.
Right.
And really there's no instances that prove or even demonstrate what they're offering even works.
Oh yeah, it doesn't work. It makes victims out of people. And so the FBI statistics basically say between 12 and a half and 15 minutes for police to respond to an active shooting. And that's fast.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, that's quick to get one officer on scene. 15 minutes, but this was over in 6 seconds.
Right. Well, technically there was an officer on scene.
Yeah, there was. Well, they had their own security. Yeah, he's a retired cop. He's a retired cop. And they had a security team in place. But what I thought was interesting, and I don't know how many of them were on the security team, but when you watch the video, there's at least a half a dozen other people that have weapons drawn pointing at the direction of fire in the church, which we talked about this earlier.
Oh yeah, I just cringed by watching it because, it was a very it was an unfortunate thing that happened.
Right.
That some dude made a bad fucking decision and decided to do this in church. So a church member was able to basically put it down before anybody else got hurt.
Yeah, they said there's like 240, 260 people in the room when it happened. There's a lot that can be discussed about the video. We're really not here to do that. Right. We're just really here to say, hey, we hate to hear that somebody lost their life while at a place of worship, but that's the world we live in.
Yeah, the conversations I generally try to avoid are the people that were never there that say this is what they would have done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, exactly okay, right. This is the heat of the moment. If you've never been in battle, then you don't know what you would have done.
What I would have done, you and I talked about this earlier. When you're sitting in a room like that and you know that there's security in the room.
Yeah.
And this incident happened and it was obviously dispatched really quick. I'm not going to draw my gun. I mean, it's already been taken care of.
Yeah, because we had this conversation offline.
Yeah, because we were looking at how many people were actually, at some point in time, seconds after the shooting, were literally drawing a weapon.
Right.
And I don't know how many of them were on the security team. I don't know what their training is. Don't need to know what their training is. Don't need to know what their protocol is because that's their own.
Sure.
You don't need to disclose that.
Right.
I hope nobody shares it. Because they said that when they noticed the guy, they had cameras turned on him so they can watch him.
Yeah, because it was a live stream.
And they were moving. You can see them moving into position, which is what you want. And to any politician out there that thinks they have a one solution answer to the evil intentions of people that are bent on killing people, I tell you to go fuck yourself.
Right. You
have no clue. You have 24-hour security all around you. You live in an artificial world, and they provided by us, the taxpayers.
They may have experts that they rely on, but a lot of times those experts are also telling them what they want to fucking hear.
Exactly. And so when you look at statistics, you can bend statistics any way you want. I've been in sales my entire life. I can tell you at the end of the day, you give me a bunch of data and a PowerPoint slide, and I can present it in any form or fashion you want to believe it in. I want you to believe it in.
There is a person who can paint the Mona Lisa with poop.
That's exactly right. And you recognize it as Mona Lisa. But, so you look at that, and so, like I said, this guy, retired police officer, head of security, firearms instructor, literally took the guy out. And we played a game earlier today, just sitting around spitballing about what if this happened in Virginia
Yeah.
with the current state of affairs over there.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, think about it. I mean, we're going to kid a little bit, but we're going to be kind of serious too, because in Virginia, this guy would have probably been arrested.
Yeah.
He would have faced a jury and possibly convicted and done jail time.
And these are all realistic
Yeah.
conclusions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm not saying that they would happen, but because of what you know about West Virginia, you would logically go, man, could I go to jail for this?
So I have to take them at their actions,
Right.
and the words they use. And so in their own words, I believe he would have been arrested, possibly convicted, and prosecuted. Then the second thing is he's a firearms instructor. So according to the governor and the attorney general, he is a anti-government terrorist.
Right. I had never seen that until you had that posted up.
Yeah,
Like,
and
what?
it was like, what? I mean, they literally are trying to say that any kind of firearms or what they call paramilitary training should be construed as terrorism, anti-government type training. And so they're walking on a very, very dangerous line. I personally think this is the big balloon they're floating. I think you see a politician that they agree to be the go long guy.
Okay.
They step out of the herd and they say, I'm going to, well, look at Beto is one of them. You know, so Beto gets up there today or yesterday after the shooting and says, do you see, this is why Texas and the rest of the country's approach to gun control is wrong. And I'm like, if we'd listened to Beto and if we'd listened to Biden, there'd have been 20 more dead people in that room.
Sure.
That guy would have had free reign to just go through there and shoot indiscriminately into the crowd with a shotgun, which is the preferred weapon of Joe Biden, by the way. Goes through there with a pump action shotgun and starts randomly shooting people in a church.
And going outside and shooting indiscriminately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's when I heard him say that, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, this guy has been on the government tit too long.
Yes.
He needs some sunlight because this guy, I'm telling you, he's out of his mind. But, you know, to make the argument, you know, so we saved, a lot of people were saved. And this is all in part because of a law that the Attorney General and the Governor of Texas made sure got through.
So I wasn't familiar with I didn't.
Well, churches and place of worship were on that list of where you can't carry when you have a concealed carry permit.
Okay.
And they expanded that after the shooting in Sutherland Springs, South San Antonio, when 20 people were killed.
Right.
They expanded that to where now you can carry. And the one thing I would say is that I recommend anybody I know that's serious about protecting themselves to go get trained.
Yeah. So basically, it was a law that says you now can basically
you can carry.
You can safely worship.
Yes, you can safely worship. Yes, exactly. Now I go to church up here, and it's a very visible presence of security, and this uniformed presence of security. And if they do their business right, they probably have uniformed and non-uniformed personnel in that building. Because sometimes when you're wearing a uniform, you do make yourself a target. You don't want that. And this guy clearly, when you were watching the video of this shooting here, security kind of gave themselves up a little bit, if you ask me. Because when you make your presence aware to a shooter, you kind of become that potential target, the first target. Because I was watching how they were lined up, and I mean, I'm not going to go too much into breaking it down, but they the one guy that was trying to draw from the small of his back that got shot first, he really basically drew that shooter's attention all on him.
Yeah, and that whole, I mean, when you Monday morning quarterback the video,
right.
And you look at the various different ways that people carry conceal, you know, you very quickly learn, you know, in a very unfortunate way that hey, the way that he was carrying
was not beneficial
to him in that capacity.
You know, and it's funny because I say that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it's funny because I say it a lot. It's interesting to see when he was going to draw. There was a suspended indecision there. You can see it. He was like a suspended disbelief, I mean. Because honestly, you don't expect to see that. When, you know, you see it on video, you can practice for it, you can train for it. But until it is literally unfolding before your eyes, sometimes that brain has a difficulty making a connection that this shit's for real.
Well, the dark humor side of me goes, you know, when he starts to make, when the shooter starts to make his move.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy that has the carry conceal in his back. You know, he hesitates.
Yes.
You know, the first thing I'm thinking in my head is, okay, is like, you can't hear what's going on or where they're at in the service.
Right.
So, you know, in my head, he's thinking, are you seriously going to do this during this portion?
It's communion. They were just wrapping up communion.
So really, you know, you're really going to do this now when we just communion? People are sitting down to pray, you know, stuff like that. So,
yeah, can you just wait until later? Yeah. Anyway, it's a sad thing. I'm glad that we have the laws in place and the citizens that are capable of doing this. I know there's a lot of like you talked about Monday morning quarterbacking in the aftermath, and there's a lot of criticism coming down again on the state of Texas. But if you remember, we had this Charlie Hebdo deal, where they had that Draw Muhammad contest in Dallas a few years ago, and that security was waiting as well. You had the instances where they were gun-free zones. There was mass killings in the areas where there were not gun-free zones. These killings ended relatively short.
Funny you should bring the Charlie Hebdo and the
Draw Muhammad contest.
Was I earlier, I guess a couple of days ago, I was probably sitting through some tutorial or something or reading something, and there was whatever the article or whatever the story I was reading, this thought kind of occurred to me as, you know, everybody has a moment where this is a bridge too far. Hey, So, and I kind of termed it as, you know, everybody has their Muhammad moment, where, you know, this is basically a topic that you never ever broach. So, you know, some people it's religion, some people draw it to Jesus Christ. So, you know, let's my favorite topic, I like to pick on Joseph Smith. So, right. But everybody has that deal where, you know, you can talk about anything, you know, even like children, you know. So with this kind of situation going on, it's funny that you bring up the whole Muhammad thing. Is, you know, everybody has that moment where, you know, when you have the dark humor with the shooting, is you try to you have to make light of it, because you know, dwelling on it and just it doesn't make, you have to process it somehow. And that's the one thing I like about the comment that Wilson made, was he's not some bloodthirsty retired police officer.
No, he's just stopping evil.
He did what he did, and he has come out and said that now I just have to process what I did, you know, and you know, and everything that goes with it. Yeah. And that was all he had to say about it, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Oh, I do too. I think that they're already making a caricature out of him. We saw today a bunch of memes popping up now, you know, with these quotes by Big Dick Jack Wilson. You know, and that's just going to happen because that's just the immaturity of it. But you know, while we're talking about it, and it's we'll just kind of peel off on the side here. So military humor. People don't realize that people that are faced with life and death process and handle it completely different.
You hear overseas, you hear some dark shit. And nobody really, you know, we say what we say, we think what we think, and there are people that, you know, they'll blush, they'll you know, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, okay, well, you know, sometimes the world doesn't revolve around or operate the way that people get. The things that make you gasp are things that we're like, okay, this is just another fucking day in the park.
Well, yeah, because Wilson watched two people he worked with, worshipped with, go down, and potentially train with, go down. And you know, and how he's processing and handling it, I got to think a lot of it's coming from his Leo background as well, because he, you know, that's just, you have to do that. And so, you know, when you see the humor, just remember that's just how, that's somebody that's probably dealt with this. Learning how to just process it and get it out of their system. Because honestly, it's a heinous, grotesque thing to witness. I mean, there's going to be some people that are going to go walk. I mean, I can remember when my father-in-law passed away and we just had the funeral in the church that we worshiped in. because it was too big to fit in the funeral home. We had to have it in the church. It was weird going back to the church after that event. It was for my wife and I, it was hard. And I can't imagine watching somebody die in that building and then going back into it the next week. So,
true.
Yeah, so you have to kind of take it for that. But look, all the naysayers that think they have an answer to it, you don't.
Right.
There is no answer to it. The only way to stop evil is with directional force. You have to stop it fast. And there's I guarantee nobody said, if he does this, I'm going to do this. It just happened that fast. His training took over. He completely explained his decision to take the shot he took and was able to do it. Now, they're exaggerating the distance a little bit. It was probably like 25 or 30 feet.
Right, yeah.
But it was a headshot. And that's the only shot he had. He says, look, there was people that still hadn't gotten down in the pews yet. I had to wait for it. That was the only shot I had, and I took it. Because I can tell you, when you train people, you're training them at 7 to 10 yards. You're not training them to 25 feet. And so, it's kind of and I know the math is a little, it's similar, but when you're looking at that, another thing I was impressed with as well is that he was the only one that fired with all the drawn guns in the room.
Yeah, the other drawn gun, it's like, did y'all not see him go down?
Well, the thing is, though, so they're covering until verified, right? So they handled it correctly, because they let Wilson approach the victim.
Right.
He kicked the shotgun, because the guy wasn't dead. He was just suffering from a massive gaping head wound.
Yeah.
But he moved got the shotgun away from the guy while having him covered.
Well, I know all the after action is, when the event takes place. I know that you're doing a sort of a sensitive side exploitation. You're going around and you're making sure that, hey, the scene is safe. That part I know. Yeah. But I know that, based on what we had seen, he basically was going to be the only actor in this thing. And
I have to give him that group of people respect for that, because gang fire, you call it gang fire when one shoots, everybody shoots kind of thing. You see that this happens with Leos a lot, and I think that's what happened in Florida when they shot up that FedEx truck. You know how every time you see a firefight, they go, "What are you shooting at?" I don't know. Then why are you shooting? And so fortunately, these people didn't do that.
Right.
And that's good. I mean, to keep your head, I'm telling you, people, to keep your head in a moment of panic like that takes a little bit of fortitude. It really does, because the natural instinct, the first instinct, is making sure the finger's not on the trigger. And I'm wondering, because we saw some sweeping going on in the videos.
Was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
The mere fact that you're pointing in a direction that has there is no bad guy where you're pointing.
Yeah.
Only a bunch of good people in front of you. Yeah. Which, why is it pointing that way?
Yeah.
So,
because we had a lengthy discussion before going to the podcast about that, whether it's high port or low port. And I can tell you, you can ask even the professionals, and it varies. It varies on your circumstance, the people you're with, and the area you're operating in.
Right.
And that's just the way it is.
That was the one thing where I had to go back to, okay, so, with being overseas in the theater I was in, hey, based on where we were at, low ready, okay, even when it was at low ready,
right,
I'm pointing at the ground. There's nobody that's going to be hit.
Right. Well, there's a big difference between marksmanship training and survival shooting training.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge difference. You can ask any operator at any level, Navy SEALs, Green Beret, Delta, whatever they're operating at. They all train under certain conditions for certain reasons. A lot of it could be rules of engagement. A lot of it could be because they're in a group and they want specific directions. A lot of it could be because the instructors are on gangplanks above them. That's why they're not high port. That's why they're low port. Right. So, there's a lot of variables that you don't know or don't see when you're not actually doing that.
And with all of the shooting schools that we had, because I know several of the guys in our unit would go to those things.
Yeah.
Because for them, they did a lot of stuff that was when they had greater responsibilities than just their everyday stuff.
Right.
So, but anyway.
So, like I said, we're not going to hate on the armchair quarterbacks, but we're going to ask you to please kind of use your head a little bit. You weren't there. You didn't face it before.
Right.
Pray for those people that were there, because I think that's important, that that church gets over that. I think they're going to receive a lot of attention, mostly positive, but I guarantee they're going to get that negative because you have a lot of gun haters that don't like the fact that they were successful at stopping a mass murder. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you ask anybody that's involved, I guarantee their after action review is going to be, we need to stop this sooner. At least it better be.
Yeah.
It better be. If your security team is alerted to something that doesn't look right,
particularly when you have
bring them to the welcome room and offer them cookies and milk until you get them out of the congregation until you verify that this is a safe person. Because I can tell you, that's what Jack is thinking. I almost guarantee in the back of his mind, he's going, man, I had this guy pegged, and you know what I mean.
And I'm sure that there are other places of worship.
Yeah.
That they all come up with their own plans. I'm sure that we cannot have been the first people to come up there. Is people know. People come in with their own experiences, their own tactics of how to mitigate things,
right? And
that's just one thing that I guarantee you: when everything's all done, there will be some other plan that they will institute in their process.
You almost have to, because that just happens so fast.
Oh yeah.
But so let's move away from that a little bit then, and like I said, just keep those people in your thoughts because that's a scary thing to have happen. But we were looking at a couple stories today that were kind of more of on the funny side.
Oh yeah, we called them Ken's Christmas stories of cheer.
Yeah, Ken's Christmas stories of cheer, or Spirit Fills the Air, because these are bizarre. So holidays makes people do weird things. You get some people that'll fight for a toy in line when it's the last one when they really. Kid doesn't need that toy.
Right.
I've seen people this last 2 weeks fight for parking spaces. I've seen people steal stuff, physically steal.
I avoided all places of shopping this year.
It's a good move.
I didn't go anywhere.
It's a good move. Well, I got sent on a couple missions because
everything was Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon,
well, there you go.
Whatever.
So 90% of ours was Amazon, but we had a last minute thing come up that we weren't ready for. And I had to go get out and get some stuff for it.
Sure.
But what I think is interesting, so in Denver, Colorado, there's a guy, and this is kind of cool. So he goes into the bank. He's a 65-year-old guy. He goes into a bank, and he robs the bank. Okay. Never brandished a weapon. Don't really know how he did it. Maybe it was a note. Maybe he faked that he had a gun. But actually, it was in Colorado Springs. And he went in and robbed the bank, and then he went outside and threw the money in the air and said, "Merry Christmas, everybody." Then he walked down to the Starbucks on the corner, sat down, ordered a latte, and waited for the cops to come get him.
Wow.
I was like...
Well, that was a gentlemanly thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, can you see him sitting before the judge saying, well, I was just full of the Christmas spirit.
Then what happened? Well, I got a latte afterwards.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Well, the bank would never disclose how much money left the building. So, I thought that was kind of funny. But he did this whole thing with no weapon, no incident. He basically just went and chugging down the coffee, waiting for the cops to show up and take him away. I thought that was funny.
Because we know that there's no Starbucks in jail.
Right. The one I thought was interesting, you shared this one with us. It was about this L.A. rapper.
Yeah.
That Blueface. Blueface. And he tosses cash into the L.A. Skid Row crowd, which was kind of cool. This is on December 24th.
Yeah, because he got a lot of... now... And this is really to be expected. Is you're going to find people that will say that, hey, you did this for attention.
So?
And the thing is
see, I have no problem with that.
Maybe they did, maybe they did not. I don't know. I don't know.
You get the corporate whores that do this all the time.
Yeah, they
buy space on prime time. To me, it's the same thing. So he gets on the top of a Mercedes SUV. And he starts tossing money into the crowd, and his bills are floating. You know how they look when they float down. So people are fighting for these bills. He was up front of the Emmanuel Baptist Rescue Mission. There's streets are lined with homeless people
and dollar bills.
I honestly, I have no problem with this. I think that it created some publicity for him, but. By God, so what? I mean, people are getting money.
I was going to say, that's probably the happiest these people have been in a long time when they're scrambling for, this is kind of a one way to look at it is they're scrambling for the money that's on the ground for some, because it's like some sort of, it'll provide some sort of hope.
I think so. And if more people did stuff like that, I honestly think it'd be a better world. I mean, if you have it and you don't need anything else, what's wrong with giving it to somebody?
And if you feel driven to do something like that, knock yourself out. Go get a stack of bills from your freaking bank. You walk to some area where there's just a bunch of needy homeless people laying around.
Right.
Now, I don't know about, I would want to make sure that the money actually got to somebody that really needed it. If you got regular traffic, people walking through.
Well, he was up front of a mission where there was streets lined with tents.
True.
So I think that was kind of cool.
Because I know I can go to, there's certain parts of downtown I can go to where I know if I had the means to do this, if I threw money up in the air, I know only the homeless people would get it.
No, a lot of people are go, but guys, I mean, these people are like losers. They take drugs. They're alcoholics. Well, you know what? I know a lot of functional drug users and alcoholics that have jobs and families.
Right.
And I can tell you that get off that horse.
Right.
Okay. You could be in that tent one day too if you're not careful.
Here's what's funny is the person who probably says something like that, who makes a quick judgment like that, probably cheats welfare in some way too.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, hypocrite much?
Yeah. Well, if you're not happy with the cash, we found another guy for you. In St. Petersburg, Florida, a 67-year-old man was arrested this last Saturday by St. Petersburg police for handing out marijuana to people and saying Merry Christmas. Okay?
Yeah,
as people passed him, he'd hand them some marijuana and say Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happened downtown St. Petersburg. The police got a report. They went down to pick him up, confronted him, and they asked him what he was doing. He says, well, I'm just celebrating holidays, handing out because it's Christmas. So what was funny is
handing out the green.
The green. Yeah. So I'm the Grinch, man. So the police found 45 grams left on him. But here's what I think is funny. He had it hidden in his sword cane. One of those canes that pull out to be a sword.
Oh, that is freaking hysterical.
I was rolling on the ground when I saw this story. But yeah, so he was, like I said, he was just full of the cheer and wanted to share his happiness with everybody else. I thought that was kind of cool.
So really, he was sort of a musketeer.
And so, so here's a guy sharing cheer with everybody. Let's see. Do we have one more? I'm trying to see it. We have the Star Wars band here.
Oh yeah. The Star. That was kind of cool.
No, those were the ones. Those were the three guys that popped up on the radar with the holiday cheer. And of course, there's a bunch of Babylon Bee stuff out there that we can make fun of and laugh at.
But freaking hysterical.
Yeah, but it just goes to show that Christmas spirit comes in many forms.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
You find humor in all kinds of media.
I mean, and these guys are all older, so they were all older except for the rapper. The rapper is 22.
Yeah,
and these other guys were 65 plus. And what I think is funny is, I guess I'm not 65, obviously, but I can see how when you reach a certain point in your life,
right,
and you just have that whole F it, you know what?
Yeah.
I can't take it with me. I might as well share it with somebody that might enjoy it. I think that's what these guys got caught. I think the marijuana guy was stoned. He probably woke up the next day and go, what did I do?
I gave away what?
What?
I gave away what?
Or there's somebody looking for him saying, hey, what'd you do with my stuff?
Yeah.
So he may have some problems with that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought those stories were funny. There was a couple other ones out there that weren't so funny, and it's all weather related. We were talking earlier about this viral video about a truck in Lubbock.
Yeah, Lubbock County.
Yeah, Lubbock County. Yeah. Oh my God, I don't know if anybody's seen that, and if you hadn't, I don't know where you've been hiding because it's been everywhere.
Yeah, that's another thing that's been played the death out of. Besides the
shooting video,
shooting. Yeah,
it's
pardon the pun.
Yeah, right, for sure. But so the gist of the video is there's a snowstorm in Lubbock County, and there's been a traffic accident, and so the police are trying to clear this traffic accident. It happens to be foggy too.
I mean, like
very
real foggy.
And so there's a disabled vehicle. There's a couple SUVs. One of them's pulling a travel trailer, trying to negotiate this debris in the road. And all of a sudden, you don't even see headlights. You see driving lights. And
Yeah,
all
the
this,
two center. Yeah,
yeah, this guy is coming through this traffic like he has to be doing 50.
barreling. It's barreling.
He's
through.
hauling ass in there. And so everybody's trying to get out of his way. He's trying to overcorrect. The truck goes into a sideways jackknife and comes off the road where all the police cars are. Now, what I thought was really bizarre is that your mind should tell you that when a truck is coming, run.
Right.
The one guy got back in his vehicle.
And the one that got crushed.
And he got crushed. And I'm like, holy shit, what was he? I mean, things happen so fast. You don't even have time to think about starting that vehicle and getting out of the way.
Like, and the thing that was lucky is I think they said that the guy just became and he was entrapped.
Yeah, he was.
I was like, first thing I'm thinking is this guy just got crushed.
Right. That's the only thing I can think
So
of.
Then Merry Christmas to that dude.
Yeah, I was a little shocked at the fact that he jumped in there, but that was. You see a lot of those wrecks anymore. I mean, there's been a lot of them here lately. We went home to East Texas. It's a 2-hour drive for us to get here and there. And we take the tollway because the tollway makes it a lot easier. But the problem with the tollway is that there's been a lot of wrong way accidents on this tollway. Mm-hmm. Don't know how that can happen. I mean, you'd almost have to be drunk to do that or completely disoriented. But as I'm driving, I'm always worried about that one vehicle that's going to cross that line. And so I drive very carefully. I'm not a road rage guy. I'm not a speeder. I try to be like a very safe driver. But there's times where you just can't be. I mean, there's people that literally are in too big a hurry, and they're usually in the biggest piece of shit on the road. It's usually a car that's got battle damage, 3 bad tires, and 1 tire that's just like almost gone. They're usually distracted on their phones. They're zooming in and out. Which
so I will say, this year I saw. I had been watching these YouTube videos that people have been posting up of these dash cam things, and I finally
where I was going with it. Yeah,
I went down the dash cam, the idea, and I added that to. I love it.
Right.
But not so much for catching a finding myself in a bad situation driving, because I'm like you. I'm not the road rage guy. I'm not the
right.
Now I will speed a little bit, but a lot of times if I'm speeding, usually it's to catch something that I saw. Right. Because I want to take a picture of it with my dash cam.
I know, right? You're just looking for things to film now.
I just like snapping photos of stuff.
Isn't it funny though? Before you got the dash cam, it seems like everybody's darting up front of you.
But
now that you got it, nobody's doing this stuff.
Because the reason why I like it is ordinarily I would be I would have to fiddle with my phone,
right, to distract your driving,
to try to get to the app or whatever that will allow me to catch this thing. Now the way that my workflow is now is I'm able to look at my phone because I resituated my whole phone holder thing to where it's straight ahead of me. So really and it stays on all the time. So whenever something comes into view, I just push the button that says, hit and it's like instantaneous,
right?
Photo captured, whatever. It's not, there's no fiddling. It's just pushing the button. And I've actually caught some pretty cool photos, like the one I showed you earlier.
Yeah, that car was cool.
Which the whole the Chip Fuchsius.
Yeah, Chip Fuchsius. I thought that was cool. It's kind of like a Zen car guy name,
It's oh my god, it's the famous car Fuchsius.
Well, we had a white elephant at our family Christmas party this year. We had that white elephant drawing,
right?
And one of the more popular gifts was the cell phone holder. And charging station for the console of a car.
Okay.
We actually, Amazon ran a deal on them. They were like $40. We got it at a fair price. Bought it. And we both have one, so we decided, well, we'll just put this in the white elephant. And that was actually a coveted, fought for, traded for,
like that.
Traded for a gift. And it was kind of funny how that all went down, because it's between that and a pancake griddle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had an electric griddle that had a lot of attention. I didn't think it would, because, sorry, ladies of the family, none of y'all cook. Okay? And I just assumed that when I drew that and went and got it, that it was coming home with me, because everybody knows I do all the cooking. but it actually turned into a high barter item.
That's funny.
Yeah, so there was a lot of grand theft going on with that one, but it turned out pretty good. But, you know, I don't know. It was just, we had a good time with it. I haven't got the dash cam yet, but I probably will.
Right.
Because I do happen to see a lot of crazy shit on the road. It seems like the bigger, you drive a truck, right. I drive a pickup truck, and it seems like everybody wants to dart up front of you. At least with me anyway. And,
yeah.
I'm one of those I use turn signals in a parking lot. I mean, I'm just that guy. You're going to know my intentions before I even do them because I don't want to have any hassle with you. But I'll end up getting one of those, I'm sure.
It's they're fun. To me, they're more fun than me looking at them as a useful item. The thing I like about mine is, and I don't really know quite how it does this, but I think for like the first hour of mine is like if you come anywhere near my vehicle, and I mean just approach it. You don't have to touch anything.
Right.
This thing has like a motion detection thing, and it'll snap a photo because a lot of times I'll get in my truck the next morning, and it'll go, hey, you know, event captured or whatever. And actually, I think it's actually longer than an hour.
Right.
So I'll find something on my phone. I'll find something that's stored in memory that said it happened at like 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
So that's mine. Just kind of, but I like it because it does that kind of stuff.
Sure.
When I'm away from it, it's really like having a watchdog for my vehicle.
Right.
So.
I just had a thing pop up on my my feed, and it was a thing that says Joe Walsh dies. Okay.
What?
So, but before you look at that, it was actually one of the last survivors of the Pearl Harbor attack. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this distinguished veteran had just passed away.
Okay.
And born in 1919, passed away 2019. So when you see Joe Walsh, it's not that, it's the Pearl Harbor thing. But with that said, I think our last podcast we left off, I was on a tear about wreaths at the cemetery, the veteran cemetery.
Oh, yeah,
in
yes.
And before we close, I wanted to say something about that. So we did some looking into it with a really good friend of ours.
Right.
And he was able to put us in contact with the person, and it's Wreaths Across America.
Okay.
Is the program. I would encourage people to Google it, get in contact with them, make a contribution, help your friends make a contribution. Because what happened is that in contact with this person, since Hurricane Harvey and some other disasters in the area, they had a huge shortfall of funds.
Okay.
To fund the wreaths. They were approximately like a couple thousand wreaths short.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. And we don't want to see that happen ever again. Not for somebody that has sacrificed their life for the freedoms that we are still fighting for as voters today. So reach out to those people that Wreaths Across America. Make sure that this doesn't happen again next Christmas. You'll be hearing from us throughout the rest of our eternity as a podcast, making sure this doesn't happen again.
Right.
But definitely take some time. Thank a veteran. I know it sounds cliche, but do it. There's a lot of them that could use that pat on the back sometimes, and let's make sure we take care of those that have made the sacrifice for us, and make sure that their needs are being met as well. You got anything, Sam?
No, that's a good way to close it, man.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week. Happy New Year's to you.
Later, man.